Cheers.
Yeah, right.
Cheers.
Cheers. 1 year anniversary on the road.
I slurped, sorry.
It's all good. Welcome, we're 1 year. Celebrating 1 year on the road. We want to share the goods and the bads, the fun,
The stuff we've learned.
what we've learned and what's helped us for the year. Some things may help you, but some of the things we talk about is basically how many places we hit in the last
We've hit 14 different campsites and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different states.
7 states so far, and Lincoln, Nebraska is where we currently are.
Absolutely.
We're in a live campsite. So Campaway, Lincoln, Nebraska. Interstate's right around us. It's a nice little park. We'll see more of our channel. You can see more about this park. But like you're saying, 14 different states, or 14 different campsites, 7 states, with more to get our way back to live TV. A motorcycle. On our way back to the southeast. We really enjoy it. It's awesome. We have a good time. So what are some of the things we've learned? Travel time. We have copious notes here, by the way. Travel time. I always like monitoring my distance. I've done almost 300-mile days where, and sometimes not even 300-mile days. Sometimes it would be driving around a major city, driving around Atlanta, driving around St. Louis, wherever it may be. You may not want to do 300 miles that day or 200 miles because traffic is crazy.
Yeah.
I was about an hour away from our first stop in Tennessee. From Tennessee, where we're going to be, and I was totally done after driving around Atlanta.
We only had an hour left to go, so that was kind of...
Just maybe monitor that in your travel, where you're going. It's interesting.
hard to push through sometimes.
Look at your exits and where you're going to do. I'm going to do a video here. Follow the channel for RP Trip Wizard. I'm not a sponsor. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I'm using these products on my own free will. And there's some things we've used that we like to use. So I use that for, we look at exits and those different types of things when we're on the interstate. So maybe you want to stop at 50 miles or 40 miles. It's nice to know there's a place to pull over. With the interstate, it's got plenty of room because truckers pull in there. So you can work on your camper if you need to, take a break. Interstates, you can take a break at different places on the interstate.
What we like to do is write down all of the rest areas that are along that interstate. That way when we're driving, we can look and say, okay, there's going to be a rest area in 10 miles or 50 miles. Or, hey, can you wait to use the bathroom until we get to the next one? Or, no, I absolutely can't wait. It's just nice to know.
It is very nice. There's other apps out there we can use. There's other things out there we'll show you later in the video that you can use to help you out as well. What we do is we develop a routine with who does what when we're getting ready to pack up and when we're getting ready to pull out or set up.
I get everything inside.
She gets all the inside. I'm outside with the boys trying to help them learn about what it takes to do this in the future. So, by the way, if anybody says it's easy all the time, it's not easy.
No, it's not.
Anything takes effort. If it's worth doing, it takes effort.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of sweat, and just like the camping pillow says,
sometimes tears.
I apologize for everything I said while we parked the camper. It's a true statement. Whether parking or pulling out at the campsite, she does the inside, I do the outside with the boys. We're doing the bathroom, the hoses, slides, clean the roof off, whatever has to be done, we're doing that outside. But we work together as a team. You need to find out what works for you, and it works well for us, because right now I've done the outside so many times, the inside I'd be lost of what button does what half the time right now.
But some days there are just things that just won't go right, and that's okay. Just be patient with each other.
We pulled back in this spot after being here and took a break to go to another park, which you'll see later in our videos if you follow us. We pulled back into the same spot. I must have backed up front and back, and the people next to us probably must have been back 15 times to get this thing level, because I don't have auto leveling, which maybe you want that in your camper. I don't have it in this one. It's a little bit aggravating, but you just got to take your time. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Work together. Smile. It's hard to at the time because you're sweating. and you want to get set up and just do what we're doing right now, which is we're relaxing. And we're getting to share that with you right now, so that's a good part. Things don't go right. So like I said, GPS, we have a regular GPS. I update it. It's not an RV GPS. I've researched a lot of those and they're pretty expensive, and what I've read, me personally, they don't always give you the exact what you're looking for when you put in your information for your camper. It still has hiccups. So with that knowledge, I use my current GPS and update it before we left. Make sure my maps are up to date. And I use RV Trip Wizard. I can't even tell you the price, but when I do this video, I'll put it in the video. It's not very expensive for the year. It doesn't automatically renew, but you can put your trips in. I'm gonna do a video on this, like I said. You can put in your trip, you can put in the stops. It shows you all the camping areas that are around. Even right now with the COVID, it tells you what codes are open, what's closed, but I'd recommend calling them because sometimes they're not 100% correct.
Absolutely.
But it does help me out. I plan the trip out. We print out the turn by turn. We have it on our phone. We have the GPS. We just do all those things to make sure we try to do the best that we can when we hit the road to go anywhere.
Try to be as prepared as possible.
Preparation, and instead of proaction instead of reaction, reactive.
Absolutely.
Proactive instead of reactive. That's true.
Yes.
Those things work for us. And there's other apps on there. The iTrucker, the fam camps for military. There's so many different RV. I can't think of some of the other ones that are on there right now, but they're out there. Overlander, Overlander, that's one of them. There's so many apps out there. You just need to do some research. They'll help you out when because everybody uses phones now. There's so many things on the apps. And right now, traveling during some type of a medical, your own
Crisis?
personal, on your own opinion on that, whatever it may be going on right now, things closed. We were at a park camp hosting, which is what we do quite a bit to help us out on our journey, is we camp host most of the year, different places. So they closed down. And if you're not in the camp host, we got to stay and work at a campground that was basically empty for almost 2 months. We cut the grass, we cleaned the bathrooms for ourselves, and just made the park stay up to standard, so when it opened back up, it'd be ready for other campers. But we got to stay. But if we weren't that, and we were just relied on basically the campsites themselves, many of them closed down, especially state parks. So some people got stuck, and I know that I've been watching a lot of videos and different people out here. They got stuck on the road. So that's something you have to look into right now. We looked into, and it may be like some other people on these channels that I won't mention all of them right now, but they have home bases. Our home base is in the southeast, so maybe we need to get an acre or two of land. It's in the works. We don't know, so we can have a place to pull into with power and water and stuff, so we can rest in case of these type of emergencies pop up. And a lot of parts close down, you get stuck across the state. So right now we're 1,300 miles from our home base. That's the farthest we've been on our journey, but it's a great way to celebrate it 1 year, and our family's nearby and the grandbabies are here.
Absolutely.
So we're getting to spend time with them.
Absolutely.
So it's an awesome. But on that, you have to do inspections. You have to keep up on your equipment. I'm doing a lot of talking right now, but it's true. Preparation is the key. Roof seals, die-cord, make sure your roof is dry. We traveled for the last year, and things happen, and things will start leaking.
Windows leak next to beds.
They will do it because we're out in this thing all the time, 24 hours a day, 365 right now. We've been in this camper, and it's awesome, but things happen. We move, we travel, things shift. You have to check your seals and windows and those type of things. AC vents, keep them clean. Connections, check them when you park somewhere. We check everything to make sure something isn't loose. Some things will come loose while you're traveling. I always make a joke every time we get somewhere, please be careful, open overhead bins, things may have shifted during this travel. And according to how I drove and what pulled in front of me, because some people are not very courteous on the road, you may have some things in the floor if you don't watch out. So it's something to do. But some other things we've done is the slide covers and those type of things we put on here. In my past videos, you can see the good and the bad. They can protect us from the rain. We can sleep better, protect the top seals. Other than that, they pull water, hold water underneath it. Debris still gets underneath it. You make the decision on that. We were just in Iowa, and I hadn't had the problem yet. The wind, we had a storm when we first got there in the afternoon that just barely missed us with the bad stuff, but it was enough wind that I thought I was making a parachute out of these.
I thought it was going to rip them off.
It was so windy. And we're not even in the middle of the storm. We were on the back side of the storm by 50 miles, it seemed like, when the wind was that bad. So
Exactly.
I'm not all up for the coverage right now. I just don't. So Larry had to work with them in Lippert to fix what we have, but other than that, that's what it is. Just do your research and what works for you. But
Right now it's just a barrier for noise.
barrier for noise. We had the BAL, the ball lock braces on the front. They work well for the fifth wheel. We started out with no braces, just a regular extended braces in the back, your main braces in the front, and that did okay. But there's a lot of wobble in this 42-foot trailer. Total length, it would wobble, wobble, wobble no matter who walked through the camper. So BAL ball locks work great on the front braces for the camper. They work awesome.
The slide supports for the main living room slide.
The main living room slide, because when you sit on them, you can feel a little movement sometimes. We put those braces on the other side. They fit right underneath our, we have the racket pinion, what do you call it, for the slides. And the braces fit perfectly underneath there. They help support it. I like them a lot. So we got 2 more braces in the back, like a pyramid braces that go on the very back bumper to help just give us some more support. That's all we're looking for. I haven't tried the actual hitch where it has a tripod. You guys can tell me in the comments what you think about the tripod in the front, whether it helps your shift the folks that live in the fifth wheels. So we talking about fifth wheels, that's what we've been in. So I don't know anything about a Class A or a Class C or any of those or B, because I haven't been in them. I'm talking about our fifth wheels. So the Heritage Glen LTZ has been holding up pretty well. But silicone spray for the slide, the lube for your slide outs, your seals, all those things. I carry extra fuel in the truck. I don't have an extra big fuel cell like some do. I don't have the room in my truck and the weight capacity, but I carry a 4-gallon or 5-gallon can of fuel for a generator, and I carry 4 to 5 gallons of diesel fuel just in case, because do your research. People have been out there and stuck, and they had to get gas or diesel shipped to them because they were stuck in the middle of nowhere. And coming out here, we've hit some places where many miles,
nothing.
150 miles, I don't remember having even seen a fuel. Maybe it's way off the road somewhere, but you don't want to pull something like this off of a road you don't know where you're going.
No.
And it happens from time to time. So have extra fuel. Inline water pressure regulators for your water. I've been through about 4 or 5 of them in the last year. So that tells me about 3 months they're great. But then no matter what happens, they start leaking and leaking. And fifth wheels and the money, how you want to buy one. They have separate water closets, what they call it, separate from your garage storage. Mine's kind of open, so water will drip out into my tray, and I have extra stuff laying there like water hoses and other things I don't want to get wet. So I've replaced about 3 or 4 of those in the last year. The inline water pressure regulators, just go out, just be prepared for it.
Absolutely.
Travel safety TPMS sensors. You can see the videos in the past on my channel, our channel. We have used the Favato. It's 40 bucks. I didn't spend the $200 or $300 again because I read the same thing as I talked about other things on here already. They don't always read correctly. I put these on, read them at home, cold. Solar panel sits on my dash. It's no bigger than a deck of cards on my dash, which I don't want a lot of things in my dash blocking my view because I need to see where I'm going. So it's just right on my dash. It works. You have 2 different settings up to, one of the series they sell is up to about 40 pounds, 40-50 psi. The ones I got go up to 87. Now if you need more pressure than that, which a lot of these campers do, you have to find something else. But for me and the pressures I'm running this one, for the size tire I have, they work. When we drove it out here, I did look at the previous channel, look at the previous what we've done on here videos. I did a video on the last trip up here how they worked, and pretty accurate on the road and how they build up pressure. So I'm pretty happy with those. Those are just some of the things. But like I stress, research the products. Winter, it gets cold in here. We spent only middle Georgia. We didn't go out in the real cold. We have a somewhat supposedly weather. How's this thing say? Supposedly be. I don't remember what it says. We can't really read it. But you're supposed to be helped out in different type of environments for cold, winter, and those type of things. But it gets cold. Those windows are very thin, so we use stuff like Reflectix in the windows. In the winter, it helped keep the cold out of that windows so much. And we ran a regular cable inside from outside to like a 110 outlet to run our little mini heater in the living room, where they got a little fireplace that runs the heater as well. Because you start running too many things for heat, you're going to overblow your amperage and your you're gonna pop fuses, you're gonna pop breakers, so you got to watch what you do. But that Reflectix, one mini heater, and then we rarely run the propane.
We rarely ran the propane, so we didn't.
We were living next to people at campgrounds. They were running through 20-pound bottles every couple of days.
Yeah.
I got 2 30-pound bottles in here. I didn't refill them but once the whole time I was in there in Georgia.
For over 5 months.
That's how we worked it. That's how it worked great for us. So
yeah, it was very nice, and we were plenty warm.
Without those covers in the window, you sit by the window, you were freezing. You put those in, it kept the warmth in a whole lot better. So those are things that we use for that. Rodents. Probably put a picture on here. That's a 3-week stretch of hell. I'll just say it. We're in Georgia at Dames Ferry Park, right by Forsyth, and where the movie was Fried Green Tomatoes. We got a video on that.
Yeah.
What's the town? I can't think of it right now.
Juliet,
Georgia. Rodent got inside the camper underneath our barrier. I didn't know there was a hole down there, so we kept hearing noises. Things were happening.
He tried to make pumpkin pie one night. That was interesting.
Took pumpkin spice across the counter. We're like, okay, what's going on with this? Then we tried looking into some of these things with these campers. If you live in one, you're going to notice there's giant holes in between. Even though you got a bottom barrier and you got the main floor, there's giant holes where the furnace goes in, different things. They just leave giant holes. It's a box on wheels, that's all I can say. So he made his way in. Next night he's dragging dog food out of the dog food bowl
across the floor and up underneath the refrigerator.
So I'm off to Lowe's and I'm buying things to block holes and to cover up panels. So I cover some panels. Then the next day, one night, my stepson's in the back, woke me up at 1 o'clock in the morning. He had made his way into the living room again, and I was stepping down the stairs from the fifth wheels. You know, all fifth wheels, most bedrooms are up front, a lot of them. He had a light on him. It was bigger than I thought. I told you to stay in bed. This was Mighty Mouse. He'd hit one of my traps I had in the floor, and
he found his way out of that trap
and drug himself back
to the hole. Dragging sticky tape with him.
This is after a week or so of this going on. And definitely afraid of rats.
Definitely afraid of rats.
I don't like them, but
and
I
mice,
can deal with them.
Even the little ones.
So we're off the Lowe's again. I'm plugging more holes. I'm rerouting my furnace, hoses, everything you can to plug every hole that I can. So what happens the next morning, we're sitting after plugging all the holes, we hear scratching and scratching. He is underneath the floor trying to get back in through where I'd plugged. So then I knew he was stuck, but at the same time I didn't know he'd been up to the top of the counter again and grabbed wax out of a candle with his paws. So we didn't know that at the time, so we got a giant trap. I got the 4 inch by 4 inch, whatever, biggest trap I could find, the claw.
Big plastic trap, like a jaw.
I cut an access hole, put it in there with peanut butter and dog food. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, the other stepson, we hear the noise, we jump up clapping, we're happy because I think we got him. You hear him flopping, we got him. We finally, this is 3 weeks of this going on. So we didn't notice, like I said, that he grabbed out of the wax out of the candle. So we didn't sure if we got him or another one was there or what, but it was him. We got him. He's done. I may have a picture on here, I hope I do. But that's something you gotta
prepare for, and now we can laugh at.
3 weeks I didn't sleep. Something
fell. It was terrible for 3 weeks.
The next day or two, something fell out of the kids' bathroom. They didn't put it back right, and it fell on the floor in the morning. I got up and told them all to get up. I yelled at everybody in the camper, get up, because if I'm not sleeping, you're not sleeping. And I found out what it was. A mirror had fell. And
I definitely wasn't sleeping because I heard that noise.
Just be ready. It happens. I don't know what else to say. It was the rat. We caught him Mighty Mouse, whatever you want to call him. We got him. He's done. He's out of there. Chemicals in the summer, in the cold, these gray tanks, black tanks, just use some. There's some different chemicals out there, fresheners to put in your sink. We've had it today and yesterday. When we travel, we come back, and if you don't put something in there, you get the backflow. It'll smell like
awful coming through your gray tanks.
If you got more tips, leave them below. I'm listening to anybody.
Absolutely.
Just because we've done 1 year, don't know we know everything. I'm just trying to tell you what's happened to us, good and the bad, like everybody says. It's not
if you have any tips for helping us make this smell better,
yes, it'd be awesome.
we'd sure appreciate them.
If you work from home or do anything from home, the kids go to school, or we got one left, one to a homeschool, and I've been doing some college work. Internet, we have an OTR mobile. It's through AT&T towers. It's not 100% perfect, but in most places you got internet, it works great.
It works great.
But if you're in sketchy places, we also have the WeBoost. I'm not 100% sold on that. I've watched some videos on here. Maybe you guys can tell me about that. I've checked download speed, upload speed. I don't see a whole lot of difference in some areas when I do it. I don't know what it is. I get everything looks like it's hooked up correctly, but I know when you got great internet, you don't need it. Just when you're on the outskirts of barely getting good internet, you put that up, you're supposed to get your signal better, but that doesn't work so well. The OTR mobile is so good. So far, so good.
Yeah.
It's worked well for us, and we've looked at some other things. There's so many different things people use out there, but for TV, YouTube TV, if you got a good signal, I'm not promoting them. I don't get sponsored by anybody. Like I said, it works great when you got internet.
Absolutely.
And you watch TV. I have a home station set up for Southeast, so I can watch my news back home. If you want to watch news nowadays, I prefer not to a lot of times. That's me personally. So, but you can watch those things, or with the dish tailgater when football season is on. I'm a college football fan, and I can't get a signal with the internet. I'm putting up my dish tailgater.
Absolutely.
About 300 bucks, and I can run it outside. I got an extra 25-foot cable. There's not a tree blocking me. I can find a northwest guy, I think it is, and I'm finding football. Hopefully there's some football this year. Here's some of the things we use. Tools. The RV Via Air. Bought mine at Walmart. I ain't saying I bought it. 300 or 400 bucks. Pumps to the pressures I need. Hook it to my battery cables on my truck or whatever you need. It helps out tremendously if you need air in your tires, because pulling the camper into a gas station you're not familiar with other cars and trying to get air is a hassle. So I carry that with me all the time, and it works awesome. Have a good ladder. Got a little giant ladder, folds up, fits right inside my garage. It goes up to 12, 14 feet to get on top of this thing when I need to get up there and do those things. Especially putting on my pool noodles to keep the water from pooling on our $1,500 slide outs. Drills, screwdrivers, basic tools, PEX. I never know a lot about PEX. The water piping, blue and red plastic pipe. Had one leaking in our parks in Georgia. Kind of found out, I think it was the condensation and the hot and cold difference, but I put some insulation on it, but I rerouted a couple pieces on it, put some new connectors, got the connectors and the tool for the PEX. I think that's a good thing to have with you at all times. So I worked out myself without having to call out an RV mobile guy, because I blew a fuse, I didn't know where it was at in Clearwater. If you watch my previous videos, then you'll see where I had to pay $200 to get a fuse replaced. Cheers on that. Learning. Oh my. But Dicor, like I said, for your roof and your seals or whatever type you can find out there for your roof, whatever type of roof you may have. A generator is a Predator 3500. It works for us. Get your cables to run those. 50 to 30 amp is a 30 amp. I can run one AC. I can run some power. I don't have a lot of solar set up. I've seen solar hooked up on a lot of campers. It looks awesome. I'm still trying to learn about the solar, because we don't do a lot of boondocking right now. But you can really find some great places to boondock for free, especially out west. And in a lot of places we even found out here, there's a camp park right down the street where we're at in Iowa. $10 a night. They have power. But if you just had some other options to help out, I mean, some places don't even have power.
Right.
But the batteries add weight, so I'm still learning. I'm just trying to figure out the whole running off solar and those type of things for us, because I have a hard time sleeping when it's really hot, and that's hard for me. But the generator works great. Make sure you got the cables for that to help connectors, plugs for 50 to 30 or whatever vice versa your camper has. I also have the B&W fifth wheel hitch. You see some people out here on the channels and what they use. I've seen some horror stories. You can find them using different types of fifth wheel hitches, and make sure you got the right fifth wheel hitch for the weight of your trailer. But the B&W, I'm not sponsored again, like I'm saying. I got the 18,000 pound in case I want to move to another vehicle and get a bigger camper one day. It positive locks. I can see the fifth wheel pin lock in place with the jaws. One handle slaps back. I can pin the handle. I can look from the back of the camper or the truck, and I can see it fully locked in. I don't have to play the game of pushing a pin, pulling a handle, trying to pin something else. I don't. That's in. I put my emergency pin for the emergency brake in case I need it, and I put in my 7-pin connector. And I recheck it when I look at then, and it is a tremendous hitch. I'm fifth wheel hitch. I'm really pleased that I went with that one. Do your research for you, what works for you. I'm just saying that one is hands down so far what I've seen. And now that people have had problems with this, and you follow some other channels, they went to a B&W after having some issues where a fifth wheel fell on the back of the truck. So all the good and all the bad. We're 1,300 miles away from home, where our home base is. Our home is right behind us, by the way, because that's what we have. Like, if you look at us previous videos, watch them. We sold it all, and we want to do something different. And with that speaking, you know,
just make sure you remember what brought you out here, what made you want to do this type of journey. Remember all of the good things, because there's so much bad in the world right now that you just want to remember to, you know, keep your spirit alive and enjoy every day that you have and every moment, every memory you can make, you know, with your kids or your loved ones.
or a rodent,
Or a rodent.
or being stuck in Clearwater, Florida, because your fifth wheel hitch won't go up or down, and you got to call a mobile RV guy out because they couldn't find the fuse that was hitting.
Or you pull into a campground and it's still under construction.
Or
so
you
people blowing dirt on you.
Or you pull into a KOA that's $70 a night in Memphis, or the Memphis KOA in Arkansas, and it's a swamp with everything else. You just don't know what you're going to get. It's like Forrest Gump says, it's a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get when you get out here.
Just remember to have fun.
And we're here laughing about it right now. We lived through it. And we're still doing it. And I'll tell you right now, I talked to my dad today. We talk about money, and I'll say this a whole lot. I left a job that paid pretty well for the stress that I was under to get away from that. And I can't put a price on this.
Absolutely not. Never. You can't do it.
I've had more fun with less money. Go figure. If you want to chase them dollar bills down, but I'm not chasing them. I'm living, and we're living right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just saying. Get on the road, enjoy it. It's a wonderful journey. It's called life. Do it the best we can.
Amen.
I'll see you on the road.
Bye.
Mm.